What's up, y'all? It's your girl, the Binge and B. What you watching on TV? Well, Sunday night, so I'm on the Baddies USA. This is gonna be episode 2. So this episode opens up where the girls are still in the dining room from the end of last episode. It's a melee, everybody going at it, but Biggie is still into it with Smiley. I think we know now that Smiley fucked up. I guess she was talking shit about Biggie's husband who happened to pass away. This is where we get a reminder of Smiley and her crazy assedness. All the crazy shit going on, Suki and Sapphire walk in. And then somehow we kind of morph and go back across the room or some shit, and Tinka and Cold Killer still into it. Cold Killer actually drops her hat while they were fighting before, and to taunt her a little bit, Tinka picked the shit up and put it on her head. While they still going through their little back and forth and tussle and shit, Tommy and Scotty walk in. Lex walks in and goes straight for Tavy Baby. She is not over this shit. So Tavy and Lex, they get into it. They start fighting. I would say they little melee. I think that shit was a draw. She was getting her ass dog walked last season. Lex was fucking her up. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say it was the same this time around. Tavy was hanging with her a little bit. Yeah, Tavy was hanging with her this time around. This is the point where Tanisha pulls up. Now, apparently, Lex had an issue with Tavy, of course, and Vanna. I guess she's mad because they jumped her at the reunion, and she's saying that she didn't get to get her one-on-ones. As they're arguing a little bit, Tavy basically said that they did get their one-on-ones, but that Lex was just still pissed off and just wanted to fight for no reason. So anyway, when her and Lex get done doing their thing, then Lex goes in and she go for Vanna. Vanna and Lex get into their little shit. And Anna seemed to think she won that fight. Like, maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. I don't know. And it wasn't too bad. Neither one of them fights with Lex tonight were as brutal as some of them become. He basically says, I knocked some sense into this bitch, thinking that I guess she's the reason that Lex don't want to fight no more. I don't know. Delusional? Poor Krishan. Yo, Krishan ain't used to this shit. Krishan is used to the seasons where they used to actually eat their meals and shit. She walking around in there looking confused and hungry, and she actually trying to break up the fights between everybody that's fighting. Like, she genuinely is out of her element. Like, this shit is not run quite the same way it was when she was there last time around. This is where we get to the Tasiki and Summer drama. So Tasiki basically approaches Summer, and Tasiki approached Summer like a junkyard guard dog. Like, she is so, the girl is monstrous. And then Summer's confessional had me cracking up. She was like, bitch, please leave me alone. She was like, leave me alone, please. Listen, I ain't mad at her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand. She wasn't ready to get her face caved in. So, you know, she was really trying to plead her way up out of that one. Tasiki chased her around that room in about 25 circles. Summer had a lot of support. The security was on it. Even the security guard was laughing. Like, that shit was just kind of ridiculous. I understand, I guess, why Tasiki is upset. Summer been running her mouth. I mean, that's what Summer do. Summer just got a blabbermouth. She is not the most likable character. I don't know. I mean, I guess people like her because she on the show. You know what I'm saying? But just in general, she seem annoying in real life. Like, you know, I don't think she mean no harm, but I don't know. She get on my nerves just watching this shit. I couldn't imagine sitting in a room with her, like, listening to her voice and shit, and that, oh my mama, like, bitch. So they don't really get to fight like Tasiki wants to, but watching them running them circles was quite entertaining, I will say. Now this next part. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like an asshole for thinking this shit funny, but I think it's funny. I don't care. Sorry. So the next part we get to is Anna. Anna decides she gonna pop shit out of Smiley. I'm still not real clear on what they beef is. I guess she just beefing with her because Biggie is. I don't really know. I don't know. I can't hear through all the bullshit. But so Anna decides she's gonna pop Smiley. Smiley said that she started feeling lightheaded, and then she passed out. Okay, so we should never make fun of people when they low. You should never kick nobody when they down. You should not make fun of people who are ill. You should not make fun of motherfuckers when they sick. That's not nice. You should not do that. It's not nice to do it. But a piece of me is like, I really do think she could be faking for the show. I will say, when she was on Baddies Caribbean, or what season was that? Baddies Caribbean she was on when she was in another country. She got fucked up and they was in Puerto Rico somewhere. I forget. Anyway, now I thought that was real because I think alcohol poisoning like is a thing. You know what I'm saying? You could drink yourself so much to where you really do. You just go to sleep. I think that was real. That looks real to me. because I've seen situations like that like before in person where that was definitely the case and it was a legitimate thing. Now, this bullshit she pulled tonight, I was like, girl, you don't get your ass off that floor. Shit wrong with you. Smiley's so full of shit. So anyway, Smiley passes out, and you know, Sapphire and them is like gathering around her, trying to revive her. trying to wake her up and shit. And then they show her being wheeled out the building. People was like, oh my God, Smiley, bitch, get the fuck up. I think everybody kind of doubt whether or not that shit was real. But anyway, so Smiley, she gets slapped very gently. I mean, I ain't packing that much power to knock no bitch out. You know what I'm saying? But on the popper, she passed out in the ambulance. Take her on to the local ER, I suppose. And then we get back to the part where, so the big three, you got Lex, Dolly, and Summer is over there talking to Krishan. And Krishan is talking to them basically about telling them how they fake. And she said something to the effect of how they just, you know, they just let Summer fight or something. I didn't really hear what she said, but as they tried to hash it out, she said that basically what she was telling them is that the clicking shit is fake. I guess alluding to the fact that because her sister was charging that Summer, like nobody jumped to do nothing. And Lex was just like, well, it was one-on-one. You know what I mean? Like, why would we say some shit if it's just one-on-one and it's between them? Like, that, it don't make sense. And the tension got a little bit heated between Lex and Krishan. I don't think Krishan about that shit. I don't really think she really want to fight this season, which is cool with me. You know what I mean? I think when you grow up and you change a little bit, like sometimes you just be on some more shit. I think that like even physically, now I know a lot of folks will question her motherhood. I ain't even going into that shit. But I do know that certain things change in us as women at a certain point. And we kind of start to see shit a little different. You know what I mean? I'm not arguing that case for her, particularly in this situation. But it just feel like she don't really want to scuffle. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it could just be because it was Lex. I don't know. But yeah, they got a little heated about their little exchange and shit. And so I didn't really understand why. I also didn't really understand Krishan's argument as to them being fake. Like, I don't see why it was relevant right then. Because it was like a one-on-one kind of thing. And I think everybody was gathered around. But they was really just trying to keep Tasiki from ripping this bitch fucking face off. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody was really trying to fight, well, besides Tasiki. So that was a weird exchange in between them. And I have to say, Summer and Dolly are probably my least favorite people on the show. But I will say, Dolly looks so delicious this evening. She is such a pretty girl. It's really a shame that she is so cute and just such a fucking asshole. Like, Dolly is a fucking asshole. But she looks really, really cute this season. I like her little fit and her hair, like the regular color hair on her. Like, she looked really, really good in her confessional. Then we get to Tink, who apparently she's mad at Tommy. She's still pissed off about that gun incident from the season before. She's still angry about the gun incident from the season before last, and Rolly's basically trying to kind of stop her and whatever. And she basically like, shit, you might have ran into the bullets, bitch, but I didn't run into no bullets, so I need to get that. So Tinka is trying to get to Tommy, and like nobody want to let her get to Tommy. So she actually like some kind of way, I guess she snuck up behind her or something, and she ended up snatching her wig and like knocking her down or some shit. They didn't really fight, but I guess it's gonna be another point of contention for the show, and they just teasing us with a little taste of it at the little dining room area. Then we get back to, I guess, Lex, Dolly, and Krishan and them are still kind of talking about the whole thing with Tasiki and Summer, and they just standing on the fact that like they not faking their friendship. They didn't want to get into it with Tasiki over some shit that her and Summer had going on because they felt like it wasn't their business. So they stood on that shit and they talked about it a few more minutes. As that conversation looked like it ain't going nowhere, so I guess the action was dying back down. Rolly steps up and decides that she wants to talk to Miss Tanisha. I forgot to mention Tanisha pulled up, but it was not that event. She just got out the SUV and came in. But so Tanisha's there, so Rolly decides they spend too much time talking about the bullshit. She wants to take this time now to go and speak to Tanisha. Rolly and Tanisha basically had some kind of back and forth, I guess. And this is some shit. From what it sounded like, if I'm understanding this properly, Rolly was upset about some shit that Tanisha had posted back in the day when her and Slim was going through what they was going through. And so Rolly was just explaining her side of the issue. And I guess back when Tanisha made her post, she addressed it in a way of saying that Rolly was bullying Slim, that's the optics, right? Big ass Rolly versus little ass Slim. Like the optics are, just this big bitch is bullying her. And so she was basically trying to explain that's not what it was, and it was a lot deeper than that. So they talk about it or whatever, and they like kind of apologize. Basically, Rolly was telling her that Tanisha was her favorite bad girl from Bad Girls Club back in the day, so it really hurt her when Tanisha took that narrative and ran with it. And so it was kind of a heartfelt moment between them. Rolly apologized. I don't know what she apologized for. I guess she apologized for saying she she'll whoop her ass or something. I don't know. But she apologized, and then Tanisha was like super appreciative, and she apologized too. They hug it out. And I don't know. I think so with Bad Girls Club, the idea with Bad Girls Club, usually it used to be that the girls would come on there, they was assholes and winos and shit, you know what I'm saying? They would come to the show and it was supposed to make them better as they were there. Now, obviously, the show over time changed from that format, and it just really became who can come in this bitch and cause the most chaos, which is essentially what Baddies is. And so I mentioned all that to say, like, I don't know what angle they're trying to take with Tanisha and Judy and them. Oh, Judy and Sarah walked in too. They were there. They didn't have exchanged any words or nothing, but I don't know if that's their angle, that they're trying to take this in a direction where the girls are getting like reformed or something. I just don't know how that's gonna work. We're gonna see. We're gonna wait it out. But the reason I'm mentioning that also is because Lemmy then comes in to make an announcement. He basically announces that Natalie gonna be there sometime and sometimes she won't, and they looking for new leadership. Bitch, you're fired. I wish I could find a GIF for that old Apprentice show with Donald Trump telling people they was fired. I might slip one of them in here. If I don't, just know I meant to. Natalie is clearly not fired because she is very much so present when the girls get to the house in DC, which is coming up in a couple minutes, and it's gonna kind of play out on the next episode. But that was really interesting. So basically, Lemmy is just saying like, shit, we looking, and if he make a declaration like that on the show, like that's embarrassing for her, number one. But then number two, that's kind of like setting it in stone. Although it could just be some kind of mark of like drama or some bullshit. Man, fuck these people. I don't know what they got going on, but I wonder who would make a good CEO of the Baddies. Like who? I think Rolly would probably be the one that most of the girls respect and listen to. It's like, is that why Tanisha coming back? Is Tanisha coming back in because she's supposed to be replacing Natalie? Like, why would they do that though? Because Rolly been rocking with this shit the whole shit through. Like that would be, yo, that's just like the real corporate America. That's how shit be going, and your ass will get ousted. Anyway, I digress. Lemmy also decides to step aside. He does tell the girls if they're looking for the leadership, and then he says that, oh, Scotty needs to make an announcement. So Scotty then announces her pregnancy again, which I don't know why that's necessary. The fact that she announced her pregnancy again, it has me wondering if it's real. I'm not saying it's not real. Maybe I feel like I saw them do a gender reveal on Instagram or some shit. I can't remember. So I think she really is pregnant, but I don't understand why they announced it like that twice. I do understand it. As I'm talking it through, I do understand why they announced it twice, because she told her closest friends, I guess, that she kick it with, and then she wanted to make sure the other girls and shit knew. And Lemmy was probably putting them bitches on notice so that they don't touch her ass this season, because they're gonna have a problem if they touch her this season. So I guess in hindsight, as I'm thinking about it now, maybe it does make sense, but I kind of was like why are we doing that? So this takes us to the next day. The girls it actually picks up with, they give us like a note, and they let us know that Marsh, who is one of Krishan's friends, and I think she's one of the girls that the Siki beat her face in. When Whoa Vicky was on there, whatever season that was, that's when Marsh and some other girl was on there with Krishan, because that's when Krishan was pregnant with Junior. Tasiki dog walked her ass all through that yard. Well, anyway, they give us a notification that Marsh shows up at the hotel I guess they were staying at the next morning. The show actually picks up with everybody gathered around outside. Tasiki going off. She's screaming. She cussing. She pissed off. She ready. And I guess Krishan is trying to talk her down a little bit, but she's not really like going after her. I don't know. It just looked kind of like, Tasiki was pissed off. Like she was super upset about something. As we continue through it, the girls now decide they actually depart from the hotel, and this is where they're gonna take them to the house where they're gonna be staying in DC. So on the Sprinter, you got a few different conversations going on. I want to say the first Sprinter had Dolly and them on there. Dolly, and I know Tinker was riding with Dolly with the big three. And who else was on there? I don't fucking know. Like Gretchen. I don't know. But they had three different Sprinters. I remember the first Sprinter had like Tinker and Dolly and them, because that comes up again in just a second. The second Sprinter, or actually looked more like some kind of SUV, probably like, I don't know, it had an open sunroof on that hoe. So I don't think they was in the Sprinter, but that was Tasiki, Mariah, Anna, and Biggie. They was riding together. And then on the last Sprinter was Tavy, Fauna, and whoever was in that thing. What we find out is that Tasiki was basically saying she was pissed off because she didn't want Marsh to be on there with her. She had a conversation on the phone with her sister, something to the effect effect of where she was telling Krishan, like, what the fuck is she doing here? You know what I'm saying? That's not I'm your sister, you know. And she said that Krishan, she told somebody else, we just blood, and Marsha's her sister. And so obviously Tasiki feels some kind of way about that, especially I guess after they just made up. That's kind of ugly. Like if I'm Tasiki, I'm probably pissed off about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, like it be moments like this where I think production probably creates or sets that kind of shit up. Because what would be the point in Marsh coming there? Like everybody else was saying, Marsh is not a baddie. Like why is she there? Krishan ain't pregnant. And like she don't need nobody to fight for her this season. So why would Marsh be there? That just seems super messy and uncomfortable. And then like for you to be the bitch that's like hanging around and, you know, clinging to somebody else's bootstraps and shit, like it just looked desperate. And I don't know, it's just not a good look. The whole Marsh shit is not a good look. So in that situation, I probably would have felt like Tasiki felt. And if I was Marsh, I'd feel dumb in a motherfucker. Oh my God, they got all kind of drama going on, talking about Tavy and Fauna. Like I guess Tavy and Fauna, well, they didn't talk about this on the show, but I have watched some of the T channels, and apparently Tavy and Fauna have become secret lovers. That's what they are. Now, I don't know if it's true. Fauna say she ain't really admitting to it, but she didn't say hell no neither. So, the plot thickens. That's going to be interesting. That's a whole nother thing, though. That's on the T channels. Anyway, so now we know why Tasiki and Krishan may have a little bit more beef on this season because of that whole thing with Mark showing up and being there, which I agree. It's me. I'm feeling that she don't need to be there. Like, that's trouble. You know what I'm saying? And then we go back to the sprinter where Tinka, Dolly, Summer, Lex, and whoever the fuck else was riding with them. They are riding, and so this is where Tinka basically is charging them up for some shit that Dolly said, I guess when her hand was fucked up and she wasn't there. Last season she said something about how she, once her hand get healed up, she'll whoop everybody ass. She wanted to get at Tinka and whoever else. And so Tinka standing there and she like, well, did you say that? And Dolly was like, yeah, I said. So then she took her purse off. She actually threw the first punch at Tinka. I think she caught her off guard though. I will say that. I don't like that she snuck her. I mean, but you know, you in the Baddies verse. Like, I don't know how any of them bitches could ever be comfortable ever, because like this is the nature of the beast. This is what y'all do. So for Tinka to be that close to her and not like eye to eye with her didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But yeah, so that's where the episode left off, and so we waiting on next week to pick up. So some interesting points in here were the whole Krishan and Tasiki thing. That whole situation make me uncomfortable just because of how shit is for Krishan in like real life. I'm embarrassed for her. I'm embarrassed for Tasiki. I just want them to win. Like I say that about everybody because I genuinely like for people to win, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a hater, but I don't like them being on here and doing this in front of people. Like I know families go through shit, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta square up, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes it's just like you gotta ignore a bitch for a year or some shit, you know what I'm saying? Like people go through things, but it make me uncomfortable to see them do this shit in public, and especially in that type of atmosphere. Like that shit is meant to breed dysfunction. This is not meant to mend no fences, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know how that shit is gonna turn out, but I think that's gonna amp up a little bit over the weeks, the next couple episodes. Who else do I want to cover? I think that's pretty much it. I'm interested in seeing, who else am I interested in seeing? I think that is pretty much it. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for me for this episode as far as what I deemed interesting or whatever. The girls looked great in their confessionals. A lot of them looked wonderful, except for Smiley, crazy. Well, really, she didn't look bad in her confessional. I'm just like, what the fuck is she doing? She's so damn crazy. She is definitely a comedian. So that was episode 2 of Baddies USA Chapter 1. That's all I got to say about that shit. I'm your girl, the Benjamin B. Better go find me something else to watch on TV. Bye.